This week's podcast is brought to you by Greenwood Nursery. Easter is right around the corner, and Greenwood Nursery has all your Easter favorites. Whether you're looking for Easter lilies, kalanchoe, begonia, mums, or rainbow mums, Greenwood Nursery has them all for only $20 each. Pick up your favorite at our Tracy or Marshall location. And remember, Greenwood Nursery for all your spring planting and gardening needs.
Welcome to the 35th edition of the Headlight Hot Seat. My name is Per. I am your host for the next half hour or so. And we're going to talk baseball today because it is getting to be that time. I know the Twins start next Thursday, and I know a lot of people cannot wait for that. But we're going to keep it local today with TMB baseball coach James Fultz. Thanks for joining us, James.
Yeah, you bet.
Let's get to know you a little bit, talk about your bio, and let's go back in time, so to speak, and bring us up to speed on who James Fultz is.
Parents, Eric and Sandy Fultz from Tracy. I grew up just by the golf course. Probably a lot of you have seen where I live. Grew up there. I have a sister, Mallory. She works at the hospital in town. And I have a brother, Brian, who farms with me. And then I married my wife, Anna, 5 years ago now. We have it'll be 5 years. It'll be 6 probably because of COVID, yeah.
You better get that right.
Yeah, I know. I mess it up all the time, and I get yelled at. But
it's okay.
We
all
have
do.
Three boys, Henry, Hudson, and Arthur. Arthur just turned 1 in February. Hudson will be turning 3. He was the one that was born in the middle of our playoff run.
Yep.
A few years back, and then Henry's will be 5 at the end of August. So
you got a third of a baseball team right
yes,
there.
we do.
Sweet.
And then with my brother's 2 boys and my sister's 2 boys, we're getting there.
Oh, my gosh.
Fielding our Town 9.
Just about ready to start a new amateur team in Tracy.
Yeah,
a few years away.
Yeah, a few years away. Yep.
You'll be like the Dolans of 2000, the Fultzes.
Yep. Hopefully it gets to that point and we get amateur baseball going again.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sweet. And we'll touch on that later as to one way maybe we can solve that problem here in Tracy. Let's talk a little bit about farming before we get into the ball. What are the odds of a spring and summer like last year? Because I know the bumper crop was thrown around a lot, the term bumper crop. Mm-hmm. And for all intents and purposes, it was. I mean, it was great last year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was one of the years that we were in this pocket of great weather. We got rains consistently. It was something that my brother and I joked that we may never see again in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad and his brothers, they talked about it and how good of a crop it was. So it may be one of those once-in-a-lifetime things, but that's what you deal with in farming. You know, you'll have bad years, good years.
Yeah.
And when it's good, you won't complain. You'll take it and be happy with it.
What made it so good? Was it just the timeliness of the rain? Was it the light winter we had last year?
Yeah,
or
we were a little nervous going into the spring with dryness, but then when we started getting rains, March and stuff like that, it just with the consistent moisture, and we never had one of those weird fluke snowstorms, you know, and it was just a nice, consistent summer for the crops, and then they filled out nice and ended well, so that helps everything out.
that rain in March has to be a kind of a conundrum for you, bittersweet, because as a baseball coach, you're like, don't rain.
Yeah.
As a farmer, we need a little rain.
Correct. It's that, obviously, you know, I'll always lean on the farming because that's my well-being. But, yeah, it definitely throws some wrenches into the baseball side of things. But, yeah, you'll never complain about moisture until it's too much.
Well, we hope for the best for all farmers this year. We're getting close to planting season.
Yeah, we were thinking, usually our farm we shoot for like the 15th to 20th of April. So we're getting, 3 or 4 weeks away.
So tax time coincides with
correct. Yep.
farming. I get it. The good and the bad of life.
Yep.
All right, let's talk ball. How long have you been coaching the varsity?
I think this is year 5.
Okay.
I think my seniors that graduated last year would have been my first group of freshmen when I took over for Bill. So we're going to go with, this will be year 5 with leading this baseball team.
You had some shoes to fill with Bill, didn't you? Because they had some state appearances.
Correct.
You would know.
Yep. I was one of them.
Yep.
Part of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, I would say if you talk to people around Tracy, baseball and Bill are coincide with each other. And I was very lucky to play for somebody like him who was so passionate about the game.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. All my coaches growing up were very passionate. Carl Campbell, he kind of 5th grade, 6th grade, grabbed us, this big group of my age kids, and started playing traveling ball, and then that ended up culminating in a state tournament appearance. Then we had like Bob Dolan. Once we got a little
Right.
older into that VF age, and he's super passionate about baseball. And when you have those three guys that got you to that point, it made it really fun, and you learned a lot, and
Yeah.
the passion for it is there.
Did the Panthers have 2 third-place finishes? Am I right?
I think 2. I'm not sure if they made it. I forget the years. You'll have to ask Bill. But I think 98 they got third. And
Yep.
that summer, then they won the Legion tournament.
Right.
And then 2011 would have been my year. I think that was the third. I'm not sure if that 99 spring, if they made it or not. But I
Okay.
know for sure they have 2/3.
Yeah, maybe 2/3 and a fifth. I don't know. I should have looked that up before I got on here. But regardless, Bill was a tremendous coach, and it was fun to watch him come back after taking a year off.
Yeah.
How'd that process go with finding Bill's replacement and filling those shoes? Because it's not easy to find a dedicated, committed coach and a good one who knows the game.
You'd have to ask him for sure. I was coaching with him he asked me to coach Legion for him back in like 2012, 2013. And then I think I coached softball JV for a year under Skoglund. And then once Carl decided to do softball, it opened up the B squad job. And then it kind of just transitioned into that.
Does being a softball coach and a baseball coach, I know there's obviously similarities, but how do you treat those differently? Not just because there's girls and boys, but the rules are a little bit different. The game is different.
That was a big thing for me, is understanding all the softball differences. The softball differences. It took a while. I wasn't comfortable with it till playoff time, basically. I only did it for 1 year. So
Yeah.
but my sister played growing up, so I didn't have an idea. But it's just different game. Stealing bases.
Yeah, big
pitching,
time. Yeah.
Defense in general. Though I would say softball, there's a lot more bunting than in baseball.
Station to station stuff.
So that's different. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. And then just the head coaching thing after that COVID year when Jake's son didn't get to play his senior year, he kind of talked about it with me if I ever was interested in it. And yeah, you think about it, but you really don't think about it. And then it just worked out to where he kind of pushed me to get my head coaching license. And during COVID, I could do it all from home. Normally, you have to go up and take classes in the cities.
Right.
Basically sit there for a day. And it worked out. I did it all at home, got it done. And then once Bill said he was stepping down, it was kind of like a natural, I'll put my name in the ring and give myself a shot at it.
I noticed over the years covering the Panther baseball team, you have a really nice rapport with the kids.
Yep.
And there's always that fine line between, kind of being their older buddy and being their coach, their mentor, their boss, kind of, so to speak.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you? Because you're still a young guy. These guys are, 16, 17, 18 years old. Do you want to, I don't know if befriend is the right word, but you want them to feel comfortable and relaxed. And the rapport that you've built with them, I think, is great.
Yeah, it's something that I would always just say, the respect thing.
Right. That's a good word.
And if I respect you guys, I expect it back. And it was difficult early on, going from Bill, who had so much success. And my first couple years, just finding my voice and almost, like you said, being that leader, but also finding a sweet spot of
Right.
friendship, if in a way. But I would say boys are a little easier to do that with. When you got to get stern, they handle it a little better. And
There's no drama.
You have a little more tug of the rope on each end at that point, and they know that you care about it. And that's what you show, and then they respect that, and it works out, I think, in the end that way.
Maybe this is me being older, but when I played ball, my junior and senior year, we played for Jim Culhane. You did not mess with Jim Culhane. You didn't call him Culhane. I know a lot of kids these days, it's Ashbaugh, it's Fultz, it's Cruzy. Back then, we didn't call John Coulter. We didn't call Jim, Culhane. It was Coach. It was Sir.
Yep. I tell the kids, like girls basketball, I'm the JV coach, and with them I say, you can call me whatever you want, as long as it's not a bad name. And then that's where, like you said, the respect thing. A lot of them call me Jimmy.
But you give them that rope, a little bit of rope,
Correct.
and you kind of run the risk. Maybe they'll take advantage of it.
Yep.
But I'm assuming these are good kids. They
Yes.
probably don't.
No, they respect it, and I've yeah, we maybe had differences sometimes, but it never comes out in that
Right.
type of thing. They're always
Yeah.
I know when they're calling me that, it's out of respect.
It's out of affection. It's
Yep.
affectionately calling you that.
Yep.
Let there be lights. Let's talk about this a little bit. This is big for anyone who cares about baseball in Tracy.
Yeah.
The Jay Fultzes of the world, who has been campaigning for this and championing this for 2 decades. How big is this going to be? How cool is it going to be? And what opportunities is this going to open up for baseball in town?
It is what every baseball field needs to be a complete baseball field. I would always go back to the example at nighttime, like Sunday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights. From my yard, I can see the Yankee field in Milroy.
You can from your yard?
Yep. And then you can see the Irish yard just past it.
From your house?
Yep. I mean, it's faint, but
Well,
you
but
know,
you
that,
know-
that pocket of lights
Yep.
is a baseball field.
Yeah.
And then I think every baseball fan just knows. I think it's probably more the older generation, but used to be when you saw lights on, you'd just swing through town, see what's going on,
Just
you'd
pull
stop
over,
by,
yep.
see what's happening, and hopefully, once we get these up, it gets to that point where we can be like that.
And there's so many levels and groups of youth baseball in town, from the little kids on up. This, I'm assuming, I'm envisioning, is going to benefit a lot of kids.
Correct. Everybody down the line should benefit from this. There's just a different atmosphere playing baseball at night, especially in the summer, and that almost comes or gets to where kids love the game is when they can go watch at night, see the lights on, and the environment is just such a different thing in compared to playing at like 2:00 on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's
I'm sorry, but that's so boring.
it is.
It's no offense to the Engineers or the Yankees or the Irish, but something about under the lights. It's so cool.
Yes, yep, it is. And I think that's just how baseball was supposed to be played. Obviously, you have to play some of those day games, but nighttime baseball, you can't beat it.
You can't beat it. The timeline, are those lights going up this summer?
As far as I'm aware, the last thing I've heard is middle of June should be groundbreaking day.
Okay.
I think originally it was maybe middle of July, but I think just with delivery of poles and all that, the last I've heard, it's probably early June.
Yeah, I can't wait. And it is a game changer in town.
Correct.
For sure, because we've played without it for so long.
Yep, and that's, I think, when we were going through the process, Bill and my dad, my dad was on the school board when Bill was trying to do it before I graduated high school.
Okay.
So that's 15 years ago now. And Bill pulled a sheet out and showed me, and he said, well, this was the price then, and, look what we're paying now. But it's just getting, like, our administration, we're very, very, very thankful for the school board, the administration that made this happen. But it took a long time, a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I know of all the people in town, I bet Bill is probably the one that's the most happy that it's happening.
I'd argue maybe Jay Fultz
Yep,
too.
yep.
I think they're both equally on cloud nine. They're sharing cloud nine for sure. Sticking with baseball here, the weather, it's March and everyone wants spring to come. And that snowstorm we just had a little bit ago kind of stunted our growth towards spring, and that sucked. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It was, and I'm sure as a coach in a spring sport, like, no. And the farmer, maybe, we do need this a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little both ways.
To be honest. But, one thing I discussed with Heather, the track coach at TMB, was practicing indoors, and everyone's got to do it. I get it. What can you do to get these kids ready and get them going before consistently you're outside?
So it's way more for baseball. It's way more little fundamentals. We try to break everything down as best we can, start them at the base, and being inside, no wind, all that stuff. They can hear you. You're not fighting the weather. The kids are focused on what they're doing in a controlled climate. I would say is the best part about being inside for baseball. You have this first week to 10 days of practice that you can do those little things, because when you get outside, the big thing about being outside is just the size of the field you're playing on.
Yeah.
Inside, we can get close to 90 feet bases, but inside the VMC, the walls are white, and when a baseball is white, It's hard on the kids to see it.
Yeah.
And then when you get outside, it gets better. And then even hitting outside when it's 40 degrees, even if
Not
it's,
fun.
Even if it's dry out, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get, like I said, you get your week to 10 days of good at bats to get you going again. Yeah, it's in a cage. We try to get live pitching in there every once in a while, but then we're fighting the arms and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they at least see it. But Kemp and I were talking, I think the last 3 years during our arm conditioning time, we were outside, late February, early March.
Yeah.
And right after we'd throw outside, then it was inside for 2 weeks. So it's been pretty consistent that way. But yeah, the kids get tired of it really fast.
And the coaches, I'm sure, do.
Correct. But then, I think David Shue was the one who said it last year. He's a senior this year. He said, I don't mind being inside because, like you said, you can do those little things consistently and break yourself down and get into baseball. But after that 2 weeks, it's hard on everybody.
Before we get into this year's team, pitch count, that was implemented a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Are you an advocate of that?
I'm an advocate.
For those of you listening, he's rolling his eyes a little bit and he's shaking his head. He doesn't really know how to answer this
I'm
question.
an advocate for it in the kids' health part of it.
And that's what it was put in place for, right?
Correct. I mean, it's protect kids' arms.
Yeah.
I would say the size of schools that it's impacting the most is the Class A teams, where you might only have one dude, and then you really don't have a lot of other good pitching. And that, yes, it forces you to develop the pitching, but
And strategy changes.
come playoff time, it forces you to have more guys that can throw. And that, some years you might have it, some years you might not, and it makes it hard on these Class A teams that you don't have the pitching because you just don't have the amount of kids like the city teams and the stuff like that has.
Are we overprotecting our kids, do you think? I mean, we're not a nanny state, really, when it comes to this particular topic. But when you played, we just played. We didn't even think about concussions back then, which is a totally different story. But we didn't think about pitch counts. I don't know have we gone too far or let the kids throw. In major leagues, any fan of the Twins out there know that Rocco Baldelli was infamous for pulling his pitchers after 5 innings. Yep. Even if he's throwing a one hitter, he's out after 70 pitches.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate part of this is that it's a blanket, and I would say the individual kid is if you have a good relationship, they'll be honest with you. And then as a coach, you get used to seeing that kid perform. So it's a tough thing when, say, just for example, if Connor, he's historically never been somebody who gets, over those 100 and whatever pitches. He's usually like an 80 pitch guy, depending on the game. And when he's on, you want to keep going. And when he comes to the dugout and he's at 105 and I say, I got to pull you, but he feels good. And
he does not want to be pulled.
And that's the unfortunate part. But like you said back in the day, like Zach Campbell was our pitcher. And back then I think you could only pitch 14 innings a week. It was more an inning limit than it was a pitch count limit.
Oh, okay.
And you could even ask Carl, but Zach was once he got to 80, that's when he was warmed up. So there'd be games, I remember like a Canby game, we were getting killed, but we didn't have anybody else to throw, and I think Zach threw well over 150. But we won. And Zach was built for it. He was in condition from wrestling.
Yeah.
Cross country his senior year, he was built for it, and he was a better pitcher the later it got. So, like, looking back now, if pitch count was a thing, like Zach has a state record. He has 2 shutouts in the state tournament. He pitched 14 innings at the state tournament in 2 days, hit his inning limit, 2 shutouts. That's going to be impossible to break now.
Right. I hope you brought ice to that game.
Oh, it was
one of those 150 pitch games in Canby.
Yep.
We'll just flash back a little bit to last year before we get into this year. Last year's season ended. I'm going to see how I want to phrase it. It was a remarkable finish to your season in a bad way. A 12-inning loss, 2-1 to the Knights of RTR. It was Tara's nephew who got the game-winning, the Chandler kid. Yeah. And I remember that game like it was yesterday. It followed a 17-inning game before you. It was a long day.
Yep.
What was that like just sitting around waiting Did you guys watch that 17-inning game?
So since I've been head coach, we've been very pushing the guys to get there to watch the first one.
Yeah.
Just so they can get in the environment, they can get loose, do what we have time,
Yep.
not rushed. But then when you get there and it ends up being 2 games worth, it's just something that you can't plan on. And the kids last year, they did a great job of getting locked in after that. When after inning 13, it was, are we going to play? And then inning 15, are we going to go yet? And you just keep telling them you got to stay focused. And it was definitely a long day, but the kids played well.
And that's what makes baseball fun.
Yes, exactly.
Games like that.
Yep. Playoff baseball is very hard
Playoff
to beat.
baseball is cool. Very cool. Would you rather lose 2-1 in 12 or 10-0 in 5 or 7?
2-1 and 12.
Yeah.
So I had a chance to win.
Yeah. And it was,
in 5, you don't have a chance.
and you walk away from it thinking, God, we did everything we could. Hats off to RTR because we were right there. It just, they made a couple more plays, had a couple more hits than you did.
I don't know how much it bothers Trevor, but it was literally one pitch. We were winning
I know.
1-0, and then a kid who I don't know if got on base against him all year hit a ball over the fence. A short fence in Edgerton. And
That was Wickman.
correct. Short
Yeah.
fence in Edgerton and tied it up, and then we just didn't have the bats to go get a win. We had chances though, but it was
You did have chances.
one of those fun games. I think. Well, you were probably covering our MCC game a few years before that, which was
Right.
a tight one. So it's those losses. They're tough, but like I said, you had a chance to win, so you can't be too hard on yourself about it.
Those matchups are cool because obviously Trevor was your ace.
Yep.
Wickman's doing great things at SMSU now. I mean, he's just a stud.
That'd be his brother.
Oh, I'm thinking. Oh, okay. That was Cody.
Yep. This is Tyler.
Tyler.
Yep. He's a senior this year. So
Well,
we're gonna
pretty much
see
the
him
same
again.
difference.
Basically,
It's a Wickman.
Yep.
Those boys can play ball,
Yep.
but I hope I'm thinking that's going to start a nice rivalry between you two because
Yes.
TMB and RTR has always had that in every sport. And last year's that playoff, that section loss, that section game would probably ignite that a little bit more.
Yeah. No, playing your conference teams, but then playing these teams within a 30-mile radius, I think is like
Yeah.
the best thing for baseball.
The MCCs and the
Red
Red
Rocks
Rock.
and all that stuff, and then you play them every year consistently, and the younger kids see that, and then it becomes rivalries, and that makes baseball a lot of fun.
And they all know each other
Correct.
so well.
Yep.
Last year's team, one more touch on last year's team. You lost a lot of horses. We're talking Trevor, we're talking Noah Knockmoose, Alex Munson. They all have one thing in common. They hit the bump for you very well.
Yep.
And you could rely on them. They made you guys look pretty good. How do you replace that? How do you, we don't talk about rebuilding in high school.
Correct.
You don't do that like in the pros. But that's got to be tough to deal with. You got such horses out there for you, and now you don't have them anymore.
We should have one. I think Connor's going to have a good year.
Yeah.
But it is something that, going back to the pitch count thing, it forces you to almost have to have everybody learn how to do it, and then probably end up having to do it in a game.
Yeah.
When you get these weeks in the spring when it's 4 games a week, a lot of times guys might only end up throwing once that week. So then it's your trial by fire. You got to figure it out. David Shue and Griff should be able to pick up the slack of some of those other guys.
Okay.
And then we have Aiden Sano should be able to throw, Brody Hogger, Jackson Cruzy. They're young. They haven't had tons of innings, but they're going to get thrown in the fire, and it's going to be a committee.
Yeah.
Let's go throw some innings type of thing. So it's something each year you look forward to figuring out which guy is going to be good at it. And then hopefully if he doesn't have a good year, he's not a senior, and he hopefully has a good year next year.
So you're going to have 2 lefties kind of in the rotation, Connor and Cruzy?
Cruzy's righty.
He is a righty.
Yep, we're only going to have one lefty.
He bats left, though. Doesn't he?
No,
Why do I think he's a lefty?
I don't know. It's a lot of righties and then Connor.
Okay,
But
my mistake.
lefties in high school are rare. I would
Yeah,
say.
I know. That's why I brought it up, even though I was wrong.
And even last year, I would say some games Connor was just up to the level of Trevor. When Connor's on, he'll be good. And I have a feeling he's going to show that off this year.
Oh, he was lights out a lot last year, and pitching for the Irish too.
Yep.
Getting that experience can only help him.
And that also helps. David Shue threw a lot of innings for the Yankees
Right.
last year. Connor throwing for the Irish, that amateur aspect of it helps a lot.
Yep.
They're seeing adult men, and they got to get them out, and it's going to be completely different when you go back to trying to get high school kids out.
100%. You finished 9-10 last year. What do you have to do to turn that around and get up to that 12, 13, 14, 15 win season?
We got to hit a little better. I think last year was probably one of our more down years hitting. We lost a big group of seniors the year before.
Right.
Alex Shue, Ethan Martinez, that big group, Ashton Squires. And there was guys getting varsity at bats for the first time. And then it
showed
takes
at times.
a full season to get kind of that rhythm down in high school baseball. And we're bringing, well, in theory, 6 of our 9 guys back in the starting lineup, or even 7 that got at bats last year.
Yeah.
So the hitting should be better. But I think high school baseball comes down to pitching and defense.
Sound like Tom Kelly.
You don't expect to win every game 10-0. You're hoping for winning 8-5, 6-5, something like that, because you're building in 2 errors for every team. Unless you're a good team.
I was going to ask the errors. You got to kind of factor that in. You hope you don't have any, but they're going to.
Correct. They're high school kids. They're not professional athletes, and you factor in probably 2 a game, maybe 3, depending on who you're playing, and then hope the guys just don't strike out a lot. I would say that's even more of a telling thing is the strikeouts. If you keep it under a certain number a game, you're going to have a chance.
Basically, we have to put the ball in play because we go back to the errors. These, like you said, these are high school kids, and the fields aren't pristine. No. There's going to be bad hops, and there's going to be maybe a routine play will turn into a tougher play.
Yep. Or you're playing in a 20-mile-an-hour to 30-mile-an-hour wind, and it's hard on everybody, and just don't strike out.
Don't strike out. Simple as that, right?
Yeah.
Let's go over a little bit of a list of some kids that you're going to be looking for making an impact. You mentioned Connor, Griff Zick, David Shue, Aiden Sano, Brody Hoggard, and Jackson. Most of those are upperclassmen. Jackson, of course, is only a freshman, but you got to count on your younger kids too, don't you?
Yep, correct. One guy we missed is Taylor Squires.
Sure, catcher.
He got for the full time last year for the first time as a 10th grader, and he did a great job. And now he looks like he had his little growth spurt. He got a little bigger, and he was great at the plate last year. I bet he was probably our top average guy, on base guy, lead off all year. So we're looking for a big year for Taylor. And the good thing about this group is these top 9-10 guys, they love baseball. They don't mind doing all the extra stuff. Like Lanew's got a cage out at their place.
Yeah.
So they've been hitting a lot more than we even know, and they're getting ramped up and ready for this.
I saw Connor in the cage earlier this week, and God, his swing is just beautiful, isn't it?
Yep. No, we got a handful of guys that their swings are pretty darn nice. It's just like you said, the strikeout thing. They're ready to roll. I think it'll be fun.
Do you know a kid, a natural baseball player? Can you pick that out like a Connor Lanew? Like his swing is sweet. His mechanics on the mound are really, really good. Can you tell a player when you look at him in the cage or even indoors, like, yeah, this kid's got it?
Yeah, I want to say I can. You can tell just how they go about their business doing it, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
When they have a plan at practice or in the cage, throwing, that's more noticeable than anything. I would say 25 to 30% of the kids are just there to be there. I'm not saying they don't love baseball and all that stuff, but they maybe haven't played a ton. They don't do summer baseball, so that's noticeable. But the kids who play baseball and are committed to it, you can definitely tell.
Odds of getting that first game in against Adrian? Over, under?
Coach James says 95%.
God, you're optimistic.
Adrian's just different. It's always just a little nicer down there.
Is that why you always start there?
Normally.
Yeah.
They dry out faster. They're a little further south and all that. If you ask not Coach James, 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty and candor. I appreciate that. James, you're off the hot seat. Thanks for joining us today.
This week's podcast was brought to you by Greenwood Nursery. Easter is right around the corner, and Greenwood Nursery has all your Easter favorites. Whether you're looking for Easter lilies, kalanchoe, begonia, mums, or rainbow mums, Greenwood Nursery has them all for only $20 each. Pick up your favorite at our Tracy or Marshall location, and remember Greenwood Nursery for all your spring planting and gardening needs.